Shalom, shalom, shalom. All praises to the Most High, Yah. This is truly the day He has made, and we shall rejoice and be glad in it. Listen, I just want to encourage you to love Yah. No one should have to pump you up and coerce you and give you special days and events and nothing for you to love Yah. I want to encourage you to love Yah from your heart. I want to encourage you to love Yah, to grasp the understanding of what it means to love Him. Ask Him to help you to love Him, what that means to love Him. Ask Him to teach you what it means to love Him. When He said, if you love me, you will keep my commandments. We need to love Yah. I'm finding that a lot of us, we're talking, but I know if we loving. I'm not trying to judge, but based on what I'm hearing, even in our encouraging people to serve the Father, we should emphasize loving Him. You know? And I was just thinking, I was listening to something and they were saying in terms of when it comes to all these different holidays, and we're telling people, oh, this is pagan and this is next and this is the next. And we shouldn't keep these, but we should be keeping Yah's law, statute, and commandments and following, keeping His feast days and not observing the Christmas, the Easter, and all that stuff. So it's like you are placing Easter and Christmas with the feast day. This is the presentation to them. And I'm like, I understand what you're trying to do, but I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. And the reason I don't agree with it is because where's the love in that? The love. See, Yah's definition of love is obedience. So for me, the mere fact that He would say to you, don't do it, that should be enough. If He didn't have anything else to replace it with, if He said to you, stop, that's not what I want you to do, that's it. Your next response is obedience, okay? You don't have to find out that Easter was pagan, that Christmas is pagan, and all that stuff. The mere fact that Yah said to me, don't do it. I love Him. I desire to have a relationship with Him. I want Him in my life. I want to serve Him. So this is what He's requiring of me. That's it. And when I speak to people, I speak to them from my experience with Him. Do you understand? And that was me. I came to a place where I just got tired of doing things that didn't seem as if it was making any sense. My life was not, what I was doing was not bringing any enrichment to my life. The quality of my life was just going down, down, down. But I'm still doing these things because, that's what we're supposed to do. That's what we were taught to do. And I got to the place where I wanted truth. I said to Father, gotta be more to serving you than this. This is not working. And so when He spoke to me in about September of 2010, living in my apartment with my 2 children, no money, unemployed. No, I was working. I didn't get fired until 2009, 2010. I think I got fired. Yeah, I think I was fired. I must have gotten fired June of 2010. Anyway, yeah, I wasn't working. But He said to me, do not keep Christmas and Easter and all those holidays on the calendar, and don't eat any unclean food. I know I really spoke about this. You understand me? I stopped. I didn't have a computer to Google what Easter was all about. I didn't have no research or say, well, Christmas was this or whatever. I just finding out a lot of this stuff now. And truly, I went to Google Christmas and Easter because a year or so ago, my son had a project on Christmas. And he went in and he was looking at the altar, and he came to me and he said, Mommy, you realize this thing was what they call a Saturnal or whatever it was. This was like a big pagan sex archery thing. I said, no, I never really went in to find out what Christmas and Easter was originally about. I just knew the Father said to stop. I stopped. I didn't ask him no question. I didn't ask him why. He said, don't do these things. Then I had my children. This was 2010. I had a child born. I have a child born in 2006. One born in 2003. So 2010, they were about whatever age that was. Y'all do the math, that math thing there. And oh yeah, one was gonna be 7 and one was gonna be 4. Okay, and so I said to them, my daughter, because my son wasn't interested. But my daughter, I said to her, we are not going to keep Christmas this year. She said, Mommy, why? I said, because the Father's saying to stop, not to do it. I said, it doesn't have anything to do with the Father. She said, Mommy, if it doesn't have anything to do with the Father, why we was doing it? We don't do it. That was it. That was it. We didn't do it. I told him he can show us or tell us what to do. You understand? That was it. March of 2011, he said to me, learn and follow the culture and customs of the Hebrew. Learn to keep my feast days. I never did away with my law. From September and then March. That's when I get the instructions of what to do. But in the meantime, I didn't do anything. I was waiting for him to tell me what to do. I didn't go through no withdrawals or all that kind of stuff. My children didn't cry and whatever. You understand? Because I was saying to them, the Father's going to do this and the Father's going to help us. The Father's going to do. And they were experiencing when I went on a job interview and I couldn't get the job. The lady told me for some reason she couldn't hire me. It wasn't the Father's will for her to hire me. But she called me back and she left an envelope for me. And when I opened the envelope, there was a check for $150 and she wrote some encouragement word for me where I am and trusting in him. And you understand me? And how he was going to bring me out and bring me up. You know, and I showed that to my children because I didn't have any money. I owed someone $100 the last hand and an ASU, and she had stopped talking to me because now you ain't waking, I need my money. And I was praying to the Father, I need to give this lady back her money. And here it is, this woman who said she couldn't hire me. For some reason she couldn't explain, but in her spirit it was not to hire me, but she wanted to give me something. And $150. And I showed my 2 little children. I said, see, I was so excited, so shocked. See, I told you the Father's going to take care of us. The Father's going to help us. The Father's going to provide for us. I say, see, I could pay her back $100 and I still have 50. We still have 50. So when I'm going to them, tell them the Father say don't do this and the Father say we're not to do this, I ain't going to talk because the Father taking care of us. You understand? So when I said to them, the Father said we are not to observe Christmas and Easter, they ain't get no fight. They ain't get no objection. Because we got to the Father. We got to obey the Father. You understand me? He is the Father. I didn't know his name at that time. So I used to always refer to him as the Father, my Father. You understand? So I would tell my children, the Father this, the Father, the Father. Okay? So just because he said it, we should do it. You understand? Because we love him. And I believe Yah wants us to get to the place where if he don't tell us, okay, if he say to us go A, you go to A and just wait. He say go there. You may not know what you're going there for, what can happen next. And I believe that's why when he said that to me in 2010, he waited to see if I was going to obey. Let me see, Let me see if you can just listen, or you're going to run around to this one and ask this one, you think I should do this? Well, what Christmas is, and why do you think, well, because it's this, and we can still do this, and ain't nothing wrong with that, eh? He said, stop. That's it. And we got to get to the place where we are just willing to obey him. That is what loving Yah is. Just being obedient. And a lot of us we're just not obedient. A lot of us think we are awake, but we are still asleep. Because we are still not willing to obey. we're still not willing to obey. We still out trying to get someone to justify and agree with what else, and this and explain this away and da 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 da. He said not to. It's pagan. Now that you have all this information and stuff, and if you see that the holidays, whatever they are rooted in idolatry, then what's there to discuss? What's there to question? Do you love me? You will have no other but me. Yeah. You see, so that was my thoughts this morning. We got to just stop and love. Love him. Be willing to obey him. You may not know what the next move is, but if he say just don't do it, don't do it. You don't need to go and ask nobody, you think that's what he mean? And why I shouldn't do it? Or this the reason he said don't do it. Well, I don't know. I don't know why he said, but he just told me don't do it. I'm just not going to do it. You understand? I'll wait for further instructions. You understand? A lot of us are asleep. We work in the flesh. We have the knowledge and the understanding that what our natural inheritance are, that we are the people of the book, but our spirit is still dead. We have not been awakened by the Ruach HaKodesh. And I've said this before and I will continue to say it. You must be born again. That which was born of flesh is flesh. That which is born of spirit is spirit. You must be born again. We need to be born again. We need to cast off this flesh. You understand me? Too much in the flesh. We're trying to understand too much in our natural. Where is the Ruach HaKodesh? Is he leading you? Is he teaching you? Are you listening to what he is saying? We need to be born again. Yisrael, you who are the natural branch, you need to be born again. It's not enough to know that you are an Israelite, the natural branch. You must be born again. You've got to love Yah from your heart. Our ancestors did not love him from their heart. They were not obedient. They did not love him. And we are following the same trend. We do not love Yah from our heart. We are not willing to obey. And that in itself is an indication that we don't love him. No one should have to tell you anything. Oh, you can do this. Oh, you could be like, this is a religion. You could come and be a Hebrew Israelite because you could have more than one wife. It's not a religion. It's not a religion. We're a nation of people under Yah who have given us his commands and his statute. That he said, if you follow these, if you love me, you will keep these. Our ancestors did not love him, and so they didn't keep him. But we are now supposed to be that generation that he has given his Ruach HaKodesh, that he has placed within us, that he's written his law upon our hearts and upon our minds, that is in our spirit. The Ruach HaKodesh is within us, who is supposed to lead us and guide us into truth, that will cause us to obey. You need him. You need him. You understand me? Because in your flesh, you're not going to satisfy the Most High. You will not please him in your flesh. That's why you need to be born again. You need to have a renewed spirit. Your Ruach need to be renewed. You need to have your spirit cleansed. You need to be in love with Yah. Do what your ancestors didn't do. Love him. Just for who he is. Love Yah for who he is. Just stop and be obedient. Stop and just love him. Shalom.